Welcome back. Nigeria's agricultural sector has over the years played a major role as the mainstay of the economy, with renewed vigor by the federal government towards backward integration, and that's in a bid to ensure that agriculture output is enough to actually sustain the country. Now, analysts have made several calls to the government to provide sustainable policies that will ensure that more Nigerians, particularly the youth, are productively involved in agricultural activities. But what strategies can the government adopt to ensure that youth utilize technology to boost the agriculture value chain? Well, with me to answer that question is an agri enthusiast, a youth, as well as the business development manager at Agrocentric, Olaomi Olaoye. She's also right here with us in the studio. Good morning, Olaomi. Thank you for coming on the program.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
All right, you're a very young lady now, so I'm sure that many are wondering how come you're involved in agriculture. So tell us about your involvement in agriculture and what actually spurred you to tap into that initiative.
Well, our interest came about, from the gap we saw in the agric value chain. We saw that, farmers were facing some challenges, farmers who produce in somewhat large quantities or relatively small-scale quantities as well. They don't have a ready market. They have to go the extra mile to, seek for a market. And you would agree with me that, the production cycle is not complete until product actually gets to the end users. So it's not enough for these farmers to have rice, maize, goat, pig for sale without having a ready market. That was one challenge we saw, and we wanted to, create solutions to that. Also, we found out that, farmers don't have access to agro support services, be it you want to lease machinery, tractors for your crops, for your farms, you want to lease warehouses. They don't have access to these support systems, services rather. So we said we needed to, bring up solutions to this, and then we came about a tech platform, an e-commerce platform where farmers can come meet and they can sell their products on these platforms. They have a ready market, not just in Nigeria, not just within the shores of Africa, but also they have access to a global market. And we're looking at over 34 countries presently. And yes, so they have access to this wide market, and they don't have to actively seek for a ready market, and we will have issues of waste and all of that. So yeah, those were some of the reasons why we had to get into the sector and provide solutions to these challenges.
Now, you're talking about technology now. What's your assessment of the use of technology in driving Nigeria's agricultural value chain as we speak? Are we actually doing enough? Are we getting there?
Well, to me, it's almost like we're still, scratching the surface, because really, if you look at the Western world, technology has gone really far in terms of, the agricultural sector. For us here, that's why, there are so many companies that are springing up, trying to mitigate this challenge, going on online platforms. And you would agree with me, every business, across all sectors, thrives through the internet, thrives through technology. So the internet is the fuel and engine for any business whatsoever. So in Nigeria, we are trying, we're still scratching the surface, like I said. We haven't gotten there yet, but, with new innovations that come up, regularly, we hope that, we'll be able to get there and, really utilize technology in the agricultural sector.
Now, when you talk about technology now, of course, it's many of the young people who are tech savvy that can actually tap into this. What about the old farmers who are not probably educated? How do we co-opt them to actually adopt the use of technology?
Well, yes. It is known that, youths usually shy away from agriculture because it is associated with the rural areas, quote and unquote. And, it's the grandparents, the old people in the rural areas that are seen as, people who are farmers, and the youths are not interested. So one of the ways by which we can reach these farmers, in the rural settlements is to, train the youths, train people in that axis, in those axes in the rural areas. We have some empowerment programs for them. We train the youths on how to use technology, because all of them have, you'll be shocked, all of them have phones. Even in those rural settlements, they have phones. They're on all these, social media platforms, especially Facebook. They're all there. So we need to train them, go to them, explain to them what they can use technology for, how technology can aid their farming businesses, how they can make money and all of that. So we just need to have that training facilities. The government needs to come in when it comes to this particular issue. We need to train the youths, we need to go there. And this brings us to agricultural extension programs, where we train people to go and give these farmers the ground root information, things like, climate change, new technology, fertilizers, organic fertilizers that they can use. So, yeah, this is a very important issue, actually, that we're facing.
Now, let's talk more about the role of government. Of course, the CBN has put in place a number of agri-intervention funds. The government has also put several agri-intervention funds in place. And just on Friday, the CBN governor actually listed agriculture value chain as part of the key areas that financial institutions should actually tap into. But then, how easy has it been for startups in the agriculture value chain to actually access funds?
Well, first of all, we must give kudos to the CBN governor for this call. The funds have been there for a while. We've seen some testimonies from startups, of how they were able to access as much as 5 million naira for their businesses and all of that. But the numbers are low. So what we are admonishing the government to do now is, we want to see more testimonies. We want the process to be easy. We want more startups to be able to have access to this, because as it is currently, the numbers are not exactly high, so we're looking at having more startups to be able to have access to these funds. So we're optimistic. We're looking forward to that.
Well, let's keep hope alive. Now, let's still talking about the role of agriculture. Now, analysts have actually attributed the use of technology across the value chain as part of the reasons why we saw the agri sector do so well in the second quarter and the third quarter GDP of the year. But what more needs to be done for the agri sector to make more impact on our economy? Well,
like we know, according to the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics, the agricultural sector did well, in the second quarter of this year. That's it did 24.69%, 65%, that was the contribution. So, and that's higher compared to the first quarter, which was about 21.96%. Contribution to GDP. So we can see that it can only get better from the look of things, and it's evident that agriculture is the backbone of the nation. Like it's not the oil sector as we are right now, and I can see that the government can already see that the agricultural industry is a necessary place, is a necessary sector that needs concentration. So we're hoping that the next quarter, or should I say next year, the first quarter, we'll be able to exit recession, and through agriculture. So that's what we're hoping.
Now, when we started this conversation, you talked about the fact that, so many companies have sprung up in recent times, of course, driving the use of technology to improve agriculture. But then what are the key aspects across the value chain that technology has actually played a significant role?
In terms of, production of crops, how do we produce these crops before, in terms of improving seedlings, production of improved seedlings, people now use greenhouses in production, fertilizers, they're organic fertilizers now. There's so many things that technology has done, creating a platform where farmers can, come and connect with buyers, not just in Nigeria, but also outside, the shores of Nigeria. Yeah, so technology has done quite a lot, even though we haven't gotten there yet. There are drones, and also robots and all that. We aren't there yet, but we're hoping that we get there. And yeah, the question you asked before regarding what we can do and all of that, we should do extensive research. Nigeria needs to do extensive research on commodities that can be great earners of foreign exchange for the nation rather. An instance is cocoa and cashew. These are normal commodities that we export on a daily. But they've been found They've been found years back. So we need to do extensive research on new commodities that are in high demand in the international market. For instance, lemon leaves. Lemon leaves here, they are considered weed. And weed is an unwanted plant. So we burn them, we cut them, and they're of no use to us. But surprisingly, it's in high demand in the international market. It's a key ingredient in the making of fragrance, and that market is about $2 billion market. So if we can tap into these commodities, we find them, we will be able to export them and earn foreign exchange for the nation. Yeah, so.
Now, let's talk about artificial scarcity, which has been a major issue, and that has been largely driven by insecurity, the high cost of transportation, and that has made it difficult for farm produce to be moved from where they are to most of their target markets. So how best can technology address a challenge such as this?
Well, to be able to face these challenges heads-on, we can overemphasize the use of technology. So in cases where we have insecurity, like currently now in Borno State, farmers are being killed and all of that. So we are dependent on certain locations in Nigeria for certain products. For instance, tomato. If we don't grow tomato in Kano, we can't have tomatoes. But technology has made these things easy. There's something called soilless farming, who says you can't plant crops with soil. You don't need soil to plant. So if we can adopt some of this technology, yeah, we're not there yet, like I said, but technology is available to us if we can tap into it. Soilless farming, you don't need soil to do it. So who says we can't plant tomatoes here in Lagos? So yeah, these are some of the things we need to look at.
So do you see us getting to a point where we have a lot more youth, wanting to take interest in agriculture, leading to maybe an oversaturation at some point?
No, not likely. Because first of all, we need to look at the population. The population keeps increasing, it's on a rise, and currently it's about 3.2% increase in our population, and this invariably means that production has to increase as well. So, and we're looking at about 6% increase in production to be able to meet the local demand. So I do not think, not anytime soon, the agricultural sector would keep booming, and we actually need more hands, we need more youths, we need the youths to be actively involved and take on, key roles in the industry.
And so how do we actually get the youth to take up key roles? What's the role of government? You're a youth and you're here talking agriculture. So how do we actually, yes.
We need to create awareness, we need to train them. Like I said, our company, we have these empowerment programs. We go to the rural settlements, so that these youths understand that they don't need to migrate. They don't need to move to the urban areas. They can do things within the comfort of their farms. So it's about creating awareness. The government needs to do that, We can advertise, go to them. That's why I mentioned the agriculture extension programs. We go to them and train them, on how to use spreadsheets, on how to use word processing, on how to advertise online. And also we can also employ them. They can be brokers. Who says they can't be brokers for these farmers, these old people you mentioned? They can be brokers for them. We train them and they earn some money. That means they're employed. They don't have to move to the urban centers, the urban areas to look for employment. Do you understand? So that's what we're seeing.
Now, you talked about online advertisement. Now, we've seen a lot of, transactions online. The COVID-19 pandemic has been an eye-opener, and many people have adopted, the use of technology to do their businesses. Now, is it even possible for me, for instance, to want to tap into the agriculture business by just, clicking, by the use of my mobile phone, for instance?
Absolutely, absolutely. You can be in the comfort of your living room and go on a platform, and do business regarding agriculture. So you don't have to have a background in agriculture. You don't have to study agriculture. There are companies with online platforms who serve as consultants. They do all the dirty job. They advise accordingly, what sector is, you can invest in, how to do the business. They give you financials and things like that. So of course you can. The internet is moving fast. Like the technology is moving. So you can do absolutely anything on this platform. So yes. Yes.
So if you were to speak with maybe the president or the minister for agriculture now, what would you tell them to do to actually drive, to encourage more people to take up agriculture?
Yeah, we know, like we said, like we had mentioned, we need to create an enabling environment, for farmers, for people who want to even come, into the sector. We're looking at investors. We're looking at even Nigerians in the diaspora who want to invest. So the government needs to create policies that make this easy for people to invest, people to come into it. The government also need to train the youth, like we said, empower the youth. Let them know what the vast opportunities that are available to them. So it's about creating awareness, funding, support. So yeah, that's what we would say.
Well, it's been quite an interesting conversation with you, Business Development Manager, Agrocentric, Olawumi Olaoye. Thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you very much.